Well, good afternoon on a summer day in downtown Fort Wayne. It's March 26, 2026, and this is the Allen County Public Library Board of Trustees monthly meeting. Can we have a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Eisbart.
Present.
Mr. Seifert. Mr. Williams, present. Mr. Freistroffer.
Present.
Mr. Pastrick.
Present.
Mr. Moss.
Present.
And Mr. Goodman.
Present.
6 board members present.
Thank
We
you.
meet
We
the
have-
criteria.
We have a quorum. Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda as distributed?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. Thank you. Unless there are objections, I'd like to group the minutes of the regular session of February 26, 2026, the minutes of the executive session of February 26, 2026, and the minutes of approval of claims March 12, 2026. May I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. It passes, and we'll move to the financial report.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Today we have just one line that's spending a little bit ahead of schedule, and that's our training line. That's due for the leadership cohort and homeless training. That usually, invoices usually come in at the beginning of the year. And if we need to move additional funds, we'll do that at the end of the year with budget adjustments if they're necessary. But other than that, all their lines are spending where they should be right now. And right now, we're still working on preparing for the annual audit and preparation for the annual comprehensive financial report. And they're going to start doing some testing middle of April, as I mentioned last month, but everything's moving right along with that. And you will find in your packet a modification it's Resolution 2026-3, but it's a modification for Resolution 2026-2, and I will talk about that when I get done with my report here. The only other thing I do have is an update to the legislative session, and as we mentioned at last meeting, we had been following Senate Bill 8 and Senate Bill 4 due to their potential impact on public libraries. Ultimately, that relevant language from those bills was incorporated into House Bill 1406 during the conference committee process on the final day of the legislative session. House Bill 1406 takes effect July 1st, 2026, so that will impact our 2027 budget. Basically, this bill is telling us that any library that adopts a budget using more than 49.9% of the maximum levy growth quotient will be subject to binding review.
By whom?
It'll be City Council. Yes, we'll have to go to City Council. If we choose to go more than 49.9% of the MLGQ. We don't know what that amount will be yet. That usually comes out around 1st of June. Also, they also said that libraries must submit their proposed budget and property tax levy to their fiscal body before September 2nd each year, which is a fairly quick turnaround and process for that. If we do not do that, libraries, it comes back, they came out and said for libraries under binding review that fail to submit a budget by September 2nd deadline, the budget will be calculated using 49% of the prior year's budget instead of the previous 80%. Now, this change only applies to libraries, does not affect any other governmental units. Previously, it was always 80%. For whatever reason, we will be subject to 49%. Also, House Bill 1406 removes the previous cap that limited reductions to libraries' budget to a maximum of 10%. So if we choose to do binding review, there is no limit at all that our budget could be cut. So I did, without knowing what the estimates will be, if we happen to be at 4%, as we were this year, to stay under binding review, we could only grow our tax levy by 1.992. That, the full levy would be over 1.2 million. If we choose to stay under binding review, that would grow our levy at $630,000. We would lose out on $636,000, and that's estimating it's at 4%. I did some other calculations. I did it everything from 1%, 2%, 3%, 5, 6. It'd be great if it was at 5 or 6. We could get by with that. Can we get by not going to binding review? Sure, for a little bit, but year after year after year, no, we can't do that. If there was a cap in place that we knew our budget could not be cut by any more than 5% or 10%, then you would feel a little more comfortable going and binding review. Maybe these changes will, next session be changed. I don't know, but that's where we are right now. And until we know what the estimate comes out to be in June, I don't have any plans to go into binding review unless Susan directs me otherwise.
I have no plans to direct you otherwise, unless this body tells us to. And I did include in your board packet the press release that the Indiana Library Federation issued regarding this.
Is there any backstory to this that the board should know? The sponsor, the causal factor?
It was very much an 11th hour development. If you remember at last month's board meeting, I think we were a day before the session ending, and I gave an update with a disclaimer that it wasn't over until it's over, and I believe some of these changes were being discussed as we were
Yeah.
having this board
Yeah.
meeting. So that was a disappointment that this was done so much at the last minute without any opportunity for public testimony.
Yeah.
Is there a sunset provision on the legislation?
I'm not aware of any.
No. And last year, because we were in binding review and the changes that had to be made, we did not get the full 4%. We only got 2.732. So we lost some last year as well.
Any questions?
I have two questions, Jill. One is, or Susan, do we know who our local legislators are, how they voted on this? I assume it's public record somewhere, but do we know?
It's easy to locate.
Yeah. Personally, I'd be interested to know as we run into these folks to hear them talk about that. Second thing was, just to be clear, takes place, it goes into place July 1st.
Yes.
So it won't affect us, though, until we build next year's budget. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Doesn't affect
when
this year at all?
Correct.
Correct, when I'm working on, the summers for next year's budget.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, can I have a motion to approve Resolution 2026-3?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. It passes. How about the claims?
Yeah. We need to approve that report.
Do we need to approve the financial report? Have we done that in the past?
I thought,
The actual request for a motion
Was
was
the
in regard to
resolution.
the resolution.
Motion, I went too fast.
are you doing the resolution first or the claims?
No, we did the resolution already, that passed. But the financial report, can I have a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. Now we go to the claims. Thank
I
you.
didn't go over the resolution. Do you want me to go over the resolution?
No, you covered it, it's all right.
Okay. Claims, let's see. Total today is 513,000. High dollar on that is a little over 129,000 for our lovely meeting room lights right here. And next one is system-wide electrical for over 53,000. And the next one is 43,000 for employee insurance premiums.
There used to be a government subsidy for a specific type of lighting, low wattage or whatever it was, the government incentivized you to buy those types of fixtures. Is this one that,
That I do not know. I'm not sure on that.
okay,
The LED lights?
LED? Well, maybe
I don't know.
Jake would know,
I think it's just an energy efficiency issue as opposed to any specific LED lights.
yeah. Okay, well, we spent the money anyway.
And it's very bright.
Yes.
Any discussion on the claims? Well, we'll pass them around.
Do you want to approve?
Can I have a motion to
Yeah.
approve the claims?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. Thank you. Let's move to committee reports. Susan, will you, since Marty's not here, can you give us a capital projects report?
I would be happy to. Great news. We were able to sign our contract with Hagerman this week for construction management services. So thank you so much to Pete and Ted for helping us through that contract process. Also, we will be announcing very soon our next round of public engagement for our facility master plan. That will be happening Wednesday, April 22nd, and Thursday, April 23rd. And this next round will focus on Georgetown, New Haven, and Shawnee. And there will be opportunities for the public to give feedback on the branch design at both the library itself and out in the community. And we will be releasing those details within the next few weeks about where those sites will be. But we have been in contact with some local businesses who are very excited to host us for a morning or an afternoon where we will have representatives from our design team out at local businesses, talking to people and getting their feedback about what they would like to see at their new libraries. That is in addition to having the design team at the libraries to gather feedback. Besides the design team being at the library for a few hours, they will also set up a kiosk that will be at the library for about a week and a half afterwards, that people can come in open house style afterwards to continue to leave their thoughts about what they would like to see.
Could we consider an evening meeting for those that can't get off during the day?
It looks like the New Haven one will be in the evening,
Oh, good.
yes.
All right.
And then those kiosks will be up anytime the library is open.
But no physical representative will be there.
I don't believe so, although staff will, of course, be there for people
Okay.
to engage with.
Good. Anything else on capital projects?
That's the big news so far.
Okay. Any questions of Susan? Okay. Now the introduction and review of public posting policy draft.
Aja's going to present this, but I'll set it up a bit. This is a brand-new policy for us to introduce for you this afternoon and for you to review, and we would love for you to consider it for adoption tonight. This is something that historically has been done by an internal procedure, but as Aja is going to explain to you, we feel that it is time that it becomes codified in a board-approved policy that is done centrally by our communications department. So Aja, I will turn it over to you to give some background as to why we're here in the first place and to explain some of the background behind the policy and how it will work in practice.
Sure. So this is a policy that would oversee all requests from the public to have things posted in our library. Usually it's a poster or a brochure, business cards, things like that. I'll tell you, we get a lot of these requests. We don't track it as a system right now, but I can tell you that it's hundreds every month that come in from the community wanting to post things. And it is all range of things as well. And so we have always, because of that volume, we've always left it at the discretion of the branch manager to determine whether or not they had space to actually post it. And, every branch has different spaces to post things. And so we've let them make those calls, and, that was a well-intentioned approach, and what has happened, though, is it has led to some confusion, some inconsistencies in that decision-making. And after, we worked on trying to come up with a new way of doing this via procedure, and engaged Pete and Ted in the conversation, and really asked for their feedback about how we can make these calls in a really neutral and consistent way. And they came back with a lot of really good information, and a lot of learning from my team, and I think a lot of learning for the library generally, about how it is that how we were creating the potential for some type of bias, and the lack of a policy was leaving us open to, the possibility that we would include bias in our decision making, which would obviously lead to possible lawsuit or impact on our brand, impact on patron experience. And so we really felt like we needed to put this into a policy. So that's what you have in front of you. What the policy really does is it's a clear set of guidelines for what can and cannot be posted. We'll have internal procedures that we'll also build out to really give specifics to how people can submit and then be approved or denied access for posting. All of that decision-making and will run through the communications team so that we know that there is a single point making this decision, applying the same type of procedure to it, and then that will allow us to track, keep record of why decisions were made. This was what we were advised would be a good way to protect the library against any potential questions or litigation. So it also allows us to reinforce that we are a place that is available and accessible to everyone under the same rules, the same expectations without regard to who they are. So I think that's a really important part of our brand and the trust and the transparency that we provide to the community. So this is really going to remove the burden of the case-by-case decision-making at the branch level, and it's going to provide that clarity and confidence. It's going to, the goal is that we would reduce any type of uncomfortable conversations with patrons about why something was chosen here or not there. And it's going to create a transparent and equitable process for everyone, regardless of who is making the request. And it just reinforces that the library is a neutral and welcoming space. It ensures that we don't have harassing or inappropriate messaging up in our libraries that would potentially be seen by children. So that's really where we came at this from and what we're hoping to accomplish. And so you have the policy in front of you. I'm happy to answer any questions about it.
Questions? Pat?
I have a couple questions, Aja. So do I understand that all the decisions will be made centrally at the main branch here? So you have to come here to make the request, and then that's fed somehow to the branches?
There are a few different ways that we've laid out in the procedure that people can make the request. They can do that online by submitting it, without even having to come into the library. Or they can go into any location and they can be, staff will help them through that online form, or we'll have paper forms too, because some people just don't like to do things online, so. But yes, everybody would have to submit it into that central decision maker there in the communications team. They'll review, and we are requiring 30 days of lead time for that because we'll need time to move through everything.
I had one other question. So once something's posted, is there a standard as far as how long it's allowed to be posted, and then do we have the authority to just remove it at that point?
We really only can remove it if it is past the date, like if it was an event, a specific event. We have at least thus far removed things that we know are outdated or that new information has come in and we need to make room for it. We know that this one has been up for a while. Part of this process will be that we'll be dating everything when it's approved. So we'll be able to know, if we run out of bulletin board space, which one's been up there the longest, so therefore we get removed.
Thanks.
So prior to this, there was no policy, correct?
We had a working procedure that really gave the discretion to the branch managers.
Case by case. basis.
Yeah, and it worked well most of the time, but occasionally people would go to two different locations and they might get that there's potential for two different answers there. And when you're talking about access to your library, we want it to be a consistent decision that's made. Even if the outcome isn't what the patron wanted, at least we know that we have applied it consistently.
You might want to add political signs in here if it's not.
It is in the procedure.
Yeah.
That it has specific language around political postings.
Yeah. They tend to come up like weeds.
We've had increased requests for things of that nature.
It is in the policy that is something that
It does
we-
say political ideology and
political candidates, that is something that
it gets
is
a little
not
more
permitted.
detailed in the procedure, but so it's not allowed is what the policy says. You cannot post anything that supports or opposes any candidate, elected official, political party, political ideology, or ballot measure. So it's removing that because, honestly, that invites some bias, right? About depending on who is requesting it, what they're wanting to do. If it's political in nature, then that could force us into a gray area, and we want to avoid the gray. I learned that from Pete and Ted. So
Any other questions? We should have a motion then to approve the policy, shouldn't we? Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay, and it passes. Thank you, Asha.
thanks.
Thank you.
Let's move to the Executive Director's Report.
Great, thank you. This is not in your written report, but it's hot off the press of just a few hours ago. So you may have noticed when you walked in, we are thick in the season of providing tax help with the assistance of our wonderful AARP tax volunteers. We are doing it at multiple locations throughout the system, including here at the main library. In our first 6 weeks of offering tax help at our locations, there have been 2,112 completed returns filed at an ACPL location. And to put some context in that, the total amount of completed returns at an ACPL location last year was 3,696. So a busy tax season so far. In other news, for the second consecutive year, ACPL achieved the bronze level for being recognized as an equitable workplace for women from the Women's Fund of Greater Fort Wayne. And we were honored at a Women in the Workplace luncheon earlier this month that was attended by a member of our HR team, Brenda Jefferson, and I included in your board packet the score sheet that we received from the Women's Fund. Earlier this month, I attended First Lady Maureen Braun's second annual Indiana First Ladies Breakfast at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. It was actually on the basketball court. That was a lot of fun. And Mrs. Braun announced that she has met 90% of her completion goal of her 2-year fundraising for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library of Indiana. So that was very fun to be there when she made that announcement. And I was able to meet and shake the hand of both the governor and the First Lady. It has been a very busy late winter, early spring conference season here at the library. In early March, special collection staff attended their big conference of the year, Roots Tech, in Salt Lake City. And Kurt, along with Allison DePrey-Singleton, both gave very well-received presentations. I believe Allison had, was it over 350 people at her presentation, Kurt? So very, very popular. Next week, we have staff attending the Public Library Association Conference in Minneapolis. That's a conference that's held every 2 years. And our own Nate Bernard will be a featured speaker. And it's actually very competitive to have a program proposal accepted for this conference, so we're very proud of him. He will be speaking on a topic that I imagine will also have a big crowd. He will be speaking on identifying and combating misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation in today's complex digital landscape. And then later next month, we have staff attending the Innovative Users Group Conference in Chicago. Innovative Users Group, that is the group around our computer system, our integrated library system. And Nate will represent us on a panel discussion regarding importing data for student library cards. We're very grateful for these professional development opportunities for our staff. Over recent years, we have reduced our travel and training budget a bit, but we still do make it a priority, and we are very proud to have our staff represent ACPL on a national stage. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Susan. Are there any items of new business that should come before this body? How about public comment? Is anyone listening to us?
There are people listening, but no comment.
Well, we must be doing something right. Well, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, followed by an executive session. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. Okay, let's take a 2-minute break, since we haven't been here that long anyway. And then we can go into executive session. Thank you.
Thank you.